Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sarmiento, and I'm honored to be invited yet again to your workshop. It's a rainy afternoon here in the Philippines, and I hope my internet connection will hold up for this presentation. Now, if you have been following the workshops organized by SuperMap, you're already familiar with some of the concepts and the platforms that we are developing for one of the cities here in the Philippines, specifically in Iloilo City. In fact, this exact same topic was given last year. But for this session, with the indulgence of the organizers, I made a little tweak to expound further on the developments that we had since last year and present the concept of smart regions, or the next logical step or iteration for our project. So to begin, let me start with a quote from Jack Welch. It's good to have a good strategy, but sometimes a good strategy is lacking without proper execution. This is something that we are very intentional with in conducting the research projects that are sustainable and that are receptive to newer technologies. In this presentation, I am speaking of smart cities from an empowerment standpoint. In the Philippines, we have legal definitions of what a city is. Most of the time it's based on the number of people that are living in an area or the economic condition of an area. We have legal definitions of a municipality or a province or a region. Some of these concepts are have similarities with how you do things in your own countries. But we also have some unique characteristics of how we identify these levels. Now, in this context, when we talk about smart cities, we deal with the concepts that are applicable to urbanized regions, whether they fit in the legal definition of a city or not. Now, people are drawn to urban areas, right? That's where the center of development is. It acts as a catalyst to expand its development to neighboring regions. Now, while attraction to urban areas is inevitable, issues that require more creative solutions are also required. When we talk about smart cities, we talk about a prospect that elicits mood of excitement. You hear about smart cities and people are like, oh, they're using new technology, they're innovating, they're applying something that is high tech to our region. So it elicits moods of excitement and optimism. And initiatives to develop smart cities, however, are not always successful. And this is something that we are very intentional in looking at, the lessons that were learned in the development of cities that are successful and the development of the cities that are not successful. When we talk about pragmatic research, we talk about the acceptance of the possibility of failure and addresses the causative factors based on lessons learned from past and elsewhere. Now, in our study, when we talk about a smart city, we talk about a city that is both an intelligent city and a creative city. Though literature presents a lack of consensus on the formal definition of smart city, we can characterize a smart city into six distinct components. We have the smart economy, which deals with entrepreneurship, innovation, productivity, competitiveness, smart people. You have information, creativity, inclusivity, empowerment, and participation. There are a lot of issues that are embedded in these smart technologies. For example, smart people, when we talk about information, recently in the Philippines, you deal with a lot of information, to the point that you have to learn how to filter the information that you have. Smart living, for example, is another aspect of technology: quality of life, safety, security, risk management. You've got smart environment that deals with green energy, sustainability, and resilience as well, especially for the Philippines. We are considered as a typhoon capital of the world. We're experiencing an average of around 25 to 30 typhoons a year. And this is already a normal part of our lives. And yet again, the systems that are in place are not very flexible in responding to these conditions. This is the reason why, and this is another motivation why we needed to be a little bit smarter. You've got smart mobility when you're dealing with traffic problems. Heavy traffic is not just an issue in the Philippines, but also an issue to most developing countries, especially in our region, in our small part of the world, right? You've got intelligent transport systems. You take a look at multimodal interoperability and efficiency, and smart government. Earlier today, we've got an example of this initiative from the city that we're helping to be smarter. You've got e-governance, open data, which is another polarizing issue, especially for countries that are dealing with traditional ownerships of data. Transparency, accountability, evidence-informed decision-making or evidence-based decision-making, and better service delivery. Now, technologies such as those shown on your screen are tools to develop smart cities. But we believe that to develop an accessible and responsible smart cities or smart regions, in this case, it has to go beyond that, which means the behavioral and the social science aspect shouldn't be ignored. DOST, or the Department of Science and Technology of the Philippines, has a framework for this development. Now, every technological advancement has its own counterpart in legality, so to speak. This is to institutionalize certain aspects of the research and to make sure that things will be sustainable in the long run. I'm sure this framework was developed together with our partners in the Department of Interior and Local Government and the newly established Department of Information and Communications Technology. Imagine we've had these technologies for the longest time, and yet just recently we have institutionalized ICT as one of the critical departments of the country. And of course, other connected offices of our government. We can see that without the support and the leadership of the local government unit or the LGU and the stakeholders, these smart city developments in the Philippines won't fly off. A covering of laws and regulations need to be established to ensure sustainability. Now, this is both protective and enabling for our citizens who doesn't have access to smart city technologies. We collaborate, and collaborate. This is something that we've been pressing on since the start of the project. We cannot survive in a silo. A research project won't survive isolated on its own. And it's very proud of us to assume that we know everything in this world, right? Our research, won't expand further if we're not very accepting of the expertise of our colleagues. And this is something that we have been doing for the past few months, for the past year, actually. This is what we've been doing with our local partners from SuperMap over the past few months, increasing knowledge, information dissemination. This will just benefit the technological acceptance and economic return in the long run. Now, we have met with the Iloilo City Mayor, Mayor Jerry Treñas, and his team multiple times. We gained new partners. We drove enthusiasm in the LGU departments. We saw a lot of situations wherein we believe that we can still improve in their systems. And this is where new technologies are coming in recently. Now, the regional offices of the Department of Science and Technology are also very supportive of this project through Director Rowan Gelonga. They have adopted us under the umbrella of an initiative which they call Innovate Iloilo. This is a vibrant community of local innovators that we are excited to be part of. Now, developing multiple initiatives based on the need and the priorities of both the LGU and the citizens alike is one of the main drivers of research in our center, the TCAGP. We are also engaging with local innovators, not competing with them, but having an attitude of helping each other grow and bloom in these difficult times. There's one quote that says, we should compete less and collaborate more. And I think this is the situation that we are in right now. Now, let me share some of these studies briefly. As you can see on your screen, we've got 4 recent projects under our center. Project Mappable is a research initiative that leverages geospatial technology and citizen science in the monitoring and management of Manila Bay Manila Bay is one of the central tourist spots in the country. It's one of the centers of trade during the Spanish era. It's one of the uh, uh, physical centers, of water or sediments, around that area. It has a lot of connected environmental systems. So taking care of this very strategic location is very important for our country. Now, this is a study that uses citizen science, incorporating crowdsourced information to decision making. The next project that I'd like to introduce is Project SINAG. Project SINAG is a joint research project of our center with the Philippines Department of Science and Technology and the Ministry of Science and Technology of the People's Republic of China. We are looking at solar potential using remote sensing. And in addition, the WebGIS component, which democratizes information among stakeholders, were also developed. AirMove is something heavy in the sensor and geovisualization environment. This project is addressing air pollution issues or air condition issues. Now, I want you to think about this. Imagine if the analysis were done in 4 dimensions, not just in 2 dimensions, which is commonly done nowadays, but in 4 dimensions, which includes the height and the time component of analysis. Now, lastly, for the 4th project, which I'm going to focus on a little bit, Project Lungsod, the 4th one, which some of you are already familiar with, it's formally named as the Link Up of Geomatics and Social Science Research for the Development of Smarter Cities. It's a research project that we've been doing for the past 2 years. Actually, I presented this project multiple times in SuperMap conferences. And this is under a bigger research initiative by our DOST. Our pilot study area is, again, Iloilo City. It's a prime area for innovative solutions because of the political will of the administration and the government workers that are very enthusiastic in adopting such solutions. It has a good track record of good governance, public-private collaboration, the most recent challenge, of establishing a safer and more connected new normal, which we are in right now, comes with governance challenges that opens opportunities for scientific geospatial solutions provided by the center. We're running for 2 years. We're supposed to end this February, actually, next year. But we're currently working on a new and exciting journey that I'll share in a bit. We're funded by the government, so we're not for profit. We're not earning from this. No? We're working very closely, not just with the LGU, but also with the local innovators group and other stakeholders. The rapid innovation and mainstreaming of information and communications technology over the past decade ushered in the demand of ICT-based urban ecosystems, termed smart cities. These urban ecosystems are increasingly being pushed in developing countries as a driver for accelerated development. Now, smart cities is now a buzz phrase, right? With all the technology development that we have, the long-term rationale can be summarized into 4 points. Smart cities are drivers of accelerated development. It's multidisciplinary and multi-stakeholder. It definitely needs some digital twins. When we talk about digital twins, we're not just talking about 3D models, but simulations also and modeling of the real-world scenarios in our respective localities. We also know that sustainable smart cities require strong societal comprehension, awareness, and connection for a project to be sustainable. Same thing when we're dealing with providing new technologies, for our LGUs or our marketplaces. It takes time for them to adapt. But the key here is knowledge sharing. Here are the specific objectives of Project Lungsod. We produced a geodatabase for the city. It's a data-rich city. It has a lot of data. But the thing is, we have to make sure that this data is compliant internationally, so that when you add more data to it, you're going to have less time in doing quality control and more time into developing more solutions. We developed a WebGIS platform, a dashboard, if you will, a mobile citizen application. We acquired some points of interest using modern technologies that we had. We acquired various sensing data from satellite sensors, from airborne sensors, and in some cases from handheld sensors. We created model simulations and adopted model simulations from other projects as well, because we envisioned this platform to be modular and scalable and customizable for the LGUs that we're doing it for. We implement through a variety of efforts involving the stakeholders as well. So technology-wise, you've seen this slide before. Part of the project is the development of two prototypes for the city. The central nervous system, which is called the City Command, and this is a city management software. It's an interface, basically, integrating information from previous and current DOST research projects and other sources. And City Connect, which connects citizens with a mobile citizen application capable of geovisualizing relevant city information, collecting human data with consent, of course, ethically, and sending feedback from the users. Now we have envisioned it to have the following. We have Smart Command, which is a dashboard for the command centers with a starter pack from the DOST Research Project and other sources. Smart Data Hub, which involves the storage itself, the data management system for the Iloilo City Command Center. On the citizen side, we've got a Citizen Connect or City Connect, which involves smart feedback. We've developed this in some studies, hashtag mining, online feedback mechanisms, Smart Connect, which connects citizens with community programs and businesses. Later on, we have one example of it, online information dissemination and so on. Smart Sense, which involves GPS tracking for logistics. Basically, this is the government side of things. Of course, these applications evolved over time with the dynamic situation that we have. But what is consistent is the aim of the project to be of help to the local government unit. So the following is just a summary of the highlights of our platforms. We envisioned it to be modular and scalable, depending on the available funding of the government, depending on the prioritization of the resources of the government. We look at technology as a means and not the really end goal of addressing the problems that we have in our cities. Of course, there's also the social science aspect of problem solving. We aim to improve the delivery of services, provide business solutions for private entities, and to improve citizen engagement and feedback. Okay, this slide, I think, is better presented by our partners from the LGU in the next video. So let me play this video, and I'm hoping that the sound will play on your screens. Oops, sorry about that.
Kasi at the end of the day, the survival of your people depends on that. It's how you respond to their needs and how you adapt your strategies. Anyway, given what I know about smart cities, I guess the words that come to mind are one, connectivity, technology-oriented projects or interventions, wherein you use this as a way to address the concerns or the evolving needs of the communities. And from what I know, this is strongly anchored on the availability of data. And sometimes this data is, translated into some decision-making tools. Like in our case, when we had this pandemic, Franco would make these risk maps. So yun siya, gumawa rin siya ng COVID na dashboard through the help of one organization, yung National Resilience Council. So that data became our basis in making decisions, like when we make recommendations kay Mayor on what to do with our COVID-19 local efforts, we always go back to these maps, to these numbers. So, yun. So, being a smart city, it's really anchored on using this technology and the value of using the data so that the needs of the communities or the challenges being faced by the communities are being addressed. Yung pagtingin ko dito, yung ending is to improve the way of life of the people. Yan.
To add lang, no, when we say smart city, it's an urban development using data, using the ICT, using the Internet of Things. To gather data, to share data, as well as to help our constituents. Yun yung smart city na concept.
Diba? This is a rapidly changing society, and given the changes, it's rapidly changing, and then the needs evolve as well. So cities have to respond to these changes if it wants to survive, or if it wants to make itself relevant or meaningful to its people. Kasi kung isa kang city, nakikita mo kung anong pangangailangan ng mga constituents mo. Like right now, we're being faced with issues of climate change. We are faced with various disaster risks or issues of migration because of COVID-19. So as a city, you have to be responsive to the evolving needs, because this will affect, for example, employment. Many will be unemployed, so you have to think of ways on how to respond to these needs of the people. Kasi at the end of the day, the survival of your people depends on that. It's how you respond to their needs and how you adapt your strategies based on these needs will spell the survivability of the city or of your people.
New trends, new techniques, new normal, and forget those old obsolete ways. We have to build our city to cope up with the new life.
Sa ngayon, given the concept of smart cities, I think really there's a need for us to have data. Like in the case of the city, there's just a lot of data, but then there's no central platform where you can access all this data. So, lagi nga, kailangan namin yun sa risk reduction efforts. Just how many people are exposed when it comes to flooding, how many communities are exposed to earthquake, to fire. So we need all those numbers kasi doon din nakasalala yung mga strategies when it comes to, prepositioning of goods, identifying how many people do you need or personnel do you need in this kind of response operations. So, kailangan namin ng data, and, there's a need for the different offices to sit down so that we can talk about how to store all this data and how can this data be accessed by everyone. I'd like to think so because, the OST has already set out their framework, and at the same time we have Project Lungsod to assist us. So I'd like to believe that the ingredients in making a smart city is already available for Iloilo City. What we need is just to pull things together. Alam mo yun? Pag-usapan how can we kick off with our journey in becoming a smart city. So with the right guidance from the experts like Project Lungsod, I think we can kick off with a transition of Iloilo into a smart city.
This is Iloilo City. We are always ready for everything. We are always ready to become a smart city.
Sorry, in the interest of time, let me move through this quickly. These are some details from the two platforms that we have developed so far. Geospatial information is the backbone of every smart city development. We all know that. We've seen that from the video, right? Smart city applications containing public and geosimulated city information layers that can aid in management and participative formulation of development strategies and possible schemas in various sectors of infrastructure development, among others. It is very critical in connecting the smart LGU to its citizenry. Now, the system is rooted on what we call as a digital twin, produced by an integration of multiple geospatial techniques. Digital twins are built through survey-based reconstruction and modeling through automated and manual techniques. It involves two major processes, basically, geometry acquisition and information representation. Digital twins are vital components to administration's modern local data infrastructures for planning and development for rich city services and information such as transportation, logistics, energy, climate, air quality, fire propagation, health, and public safety studies are critically linked. Digital twin applications are not new. We've seen this in the Netherlands, in Beijing, in Russia, in SDI Project Rotterdam, in the 3D city modeling of urban wind flows in Australia, in Macau, New York, Ruhr, Porto, among others. These are great examples of this. Now, preference on sensor-aided automated methods were always prioritized over manual data entry and measurement. The complexity and the quantity of data needed to represent these large urban areas make fully automatic techniques highly desirable as well. Varying levels of utilization circle around photogrammetry, active sensors, hybrid sensors, and other systems as well. The acquired geospatial information is housed in a geodatabase. The geodatabase is connected to the users via a geoportal. These geoportals are environments, whether they're offline or online, that serve as a bridge to the collection of data resources, tools, and applications, metadata records, and other geographic information as well. But not all cities, especially in developing countries such as the Philippines, have the capability to absorb this level of resource-intensive technologies. This is why we've developed light resources for decision makers, integrating the GIS as a tool for analysis and decision support and as a platform for visualization. The usage of WebGIS defined as a tool to design, implement, generate, and deliver various geospatial data and functionalities and services over the World Wide Web to facilitate better connection between the government and the citizens is also recognized in this project. So this is just an example of the dashboard that we've developed for the cities that are not ready to absorb such applications for now. Now, to connect the LGU to the citizens and vice versa, we are also developing the City Connect application. We have 8 modules under development. It's much easier presented, and talked about than done, actually. For example, the emergency module, when we've developed the app side of the emergency module, but there's a lot of work to be done on the LGU side. For example, how are we going to take a look at the system? How are we going to absorb the level of information? How are we going to make or to act on this information once we receive them? So actionable information is always easier to be gathered than providing the action itself. There's a lot of things that needed to be thought out, especially in the systems, in how you're doing your processes, how do we optimize a lot of things, and this is something that we're excited to help out with Iloilo City. These modules shown are either developed in-house or integrated, such as the Bakal Local platform from our friends in Iloilo. Bakal Local is a commercial platform that sells local products, that are not available in the popular commercial platforms as well. We're developing modules that will enable action both rapid and long-term from the local government unit. This is in line with the city's vision when they are building the command centers that they have currently. Now, just 2 hours ago, as mentioned earlier, Iloilo City launched their online business process platforms. You can see this in their Facebook page if you have Facebook. As part of the LGU's efforts to provide ease in doing business with Iloilo City government, they created the EBPLS, which will level up the service for the Ilonggo people. This is online registration, renewal, and payment made easy. And we're working with them to see how we can help out through our Lungsod application in making this process easier for them. Tech transfer is a very big part of our efforts. As mentioned earlier, we're a research project. We're scientists. We're not really doing things like staying in one place in a very long time. We have to face the reality that we have a start date and we have an end date, and someone needs to sustain it. Now, we are very grateful that Iloilo City is very supportive in adopting the technologies that we have developed by providing a whole division, 30 plantilla or permanent items for their command centers, with Project Lungsod as one of their justifications. Now, sustainability-wise, we are looking to extend this project to its neighboring province and municipalities. Now, we now take a look at the dynamism of the region, not just the city, but a greater understanding of how everything is connected together. Currently, we are in Iloilo City. That's the region in green right here. And we look to expand in the neighboring municipalities, Oton, Pavia, Leganes, Santa Barbara, San Miguel, and Cabanatuan, in the neighboring province as well, which is called Guimaras, which contains Buenavista, San Lorenzo, Sibunag, Nueva Valencia, and Hordan. Now, a couple of months ago, SuperMap Philippines conducted a conference with the local decision makers of these cities and municipalities. It was done face-to-face, which is something that we haven't done in a very long time. It was a productive time in the sense that we have increased awareness about the technologies that we are using and the receptiveness of the region to implement smart city projects. As you can see, this is a basic methodology of what we do. We design with the client, with the LGU. We develop to address their needs. We test it, we iterate it, and we deploy it. But again, this is easier said than done. Now, we have crafted the strategy in maximizing the gains from this project. And going back to the quote, on the second slide, the quote of Jack Welch, the next step will be to implement like hell. It is my honor to wrap up this presentation with a short video that summarizes everything that we have done for the past year. Let me close by taking this opportunity to personally thank SuperMap for the Business Partner of the Year award last 2021. It's always good to find industry partners that have the same vision and goal in helping develop areas achieve smart city aspirations. This is the photo of me receiving that award from Miss Marife Belando. I'm not sure if Marife is here, in my humble office in UP. Again, thank you very much, and I hope to see you all soon.